Introduction, DOS Intrusion, Prevention System. Our teaching aid, the DOS Intrusion. Prevention System is an educational model designed to demonstrate how denial of service, DOS attacks occur, and how they can be effectively detected and mitigated. This system provides a practical, hands-on understanding of network security concepts by simulating real-world DOS attack scenarios, such as SYN flood attacks, and showing the mechanisms used to prevent or reduce their impact. Through this teaching aid, students and cybersecurity learners can visualize the flow of malicious traffic, analyze packet behaviors, and understand how prevention techniques, such as traffic monitoring, packet filtering, and rate limiting, protect systems from being overwhelmed. This teaching aid is necessary because DOS attacks remain one of the most common and disruptive forms of cyber threats, affecting websites, servers, and networks across industries. Many learners grasp the theory behind network security, but often lack opportunities to observe these attacks and their prevention in action. By using this system, students can bridge the gap between theoretical knowledge and practical experience, strengthening their understanding of cybersecurity defense mechanisms. It also encourages analytical thinking, enhances network security awareness, and equips learners with essential skills to design resilient systems against real-world cyber attacks. Having this in mind, let's get into it. Today, we will cover a denial-of-service DOS attack and a prevention system we built to mitigate it. Our demonstration focuses on a SYN flood attack. When a client sends a TCP SYN request to a server, the server responds with a SYN ACK and waits for the final ACK to complete the TCP three-way handshake. In a SYN flood, the attacker sends many SYNs and never completes the handshake, leaving half-open connections and consuming the server's resources until it can no longer accept legitimate connections. The teaching aid is a hands-on demo that shows what a DOS attack looks like against a website and explains the methods we use to stop it. Our demo uses two Ubuntu virtual machines on separate physical devices. One VM acts as the attacker, and the other hosts the target web server and the defensive controls. The host runs a Streamlit app to serve a simple local website in the browser. We demonstrate two scenarios: the server under attack with no protections enabled, and the server under attack with our protections enabled. Now let's observe the first scenario, where the server is under attack with no protection enabled.
Alright, so now we're going to see the live demo of the attacker sending the DDoS attack into the web server. So right now we're just loading up the web server, showing that it's active and still accessible to outside users. And then we're going to go back to the terminal. And what we're using is a script known as hping that lets us facilitate the denial of service. So there's a couple different parameters that we're going to fill in here. The first is the type of attack we're launching, which is the synchronization. The second is flood. So it's just going to send as many packets as fast as it can, as much as it can. And then we're going to list the port number and the IP address of the server, or the web server. And then, so once that's done, we can run the script and it will send that traffic over. We're also going to open up a TCP capture to show all the packets that are being sent to the web server while this attack takes place. And we're going to save these for later, just for demonstration purposes. Alright, so we have our TCP capture running. Now we're going to run the script. And if we jump back to the website and reload it, we can see it's no longer responsive. And it's just going to hang here for a while. because the amount of traffic being sent from that script is so great that your actual traffic isn't actually making it there. And the system's resources are also exhausted because the synchronizations aren't being responded to from the attacker here. So you can see we can open as many tabs as we want, but it's not going to actually open up the website for us. And so if we skip forward a little bit, we'll actually go back after that's done. We'll turn off the HPing denial of service. We'll stop the DOS or the TCP capture, and we can see all the packets that were sent. And then if we reload the website, we can see it comes back up just nice and easy like that. Yeah, so this was a showcase of before we have implemented any firewall restrictions on the server side.
What you just witnessed demonstrates how a SYN flood attack can render a server unavailable, preventing clients from accessing it. Next, we will observe the second scenario, where the server faces the same attack, but with firewall protection enabled.
All right, so now we're going to demonstrate the website's denial of service prevention with the firewall or setup. So we're going to do the same thing, run the same parameters before with the HPing against the server, and we're just going to send a bunch of traffic to it. And what we're going to see this time is that instead of being unresponsive, it will show a little bit of strain, but it eventually does recover. And then so at the same time that this was running on the attacker's machine, we also did a trial on a cellular device on the same network with the website. So we can see that as we go to refresh the site, it hangs for a little bit, trying to reestablish the connection because, of course, the denial of service attack is saturating a lot of the traffic to it, but we can see that it does eventually actually recover and give like the result of the website to the mobile device. So that's the demonstration of how it sort of works together. Yeah, and then we'll stop the DOS by canceling out the HPing script, and yeah, the website will return to normal service.
Our initial approach to preventing a denial of service attack involved what we worked on in class, setting up IP tables to filter traffic before it reached the host. However, in our demo, the firewall was local to the host system, which created a challenge because it operated at the application layer rather than the internet stack layer. This meant that any rules we implemented in IP tables were too high up to preemptively affect traffic coming from the attacker's machine, as it arrived through the transport layer. By the time the traffic reached the application layer, the server was already flooded with packets and requests. To address this, we explored ways to harden the firewall. Linux comes with a basic firewall, uncomplicated firewall, also known as UFW, that users can configure, with IP tables nested within it. To properly catch traffic as it entered the system, we implemented kernel-based hardening to help limit incoming traffic. We also adjusted the default firewall policies, which were initially set to deny all inbound and outbound traffic. We allowed typical SSH, HTTP, and HTTPS traffic while carefully controlling what other traffic could enter. We added synchronization cookies to manage the backlog of requests and worked with NF tables to implement synchronization proxies. These proxies help limit the number of packets entering the system at one time, similar to how limits are set in traditional IP tables. This combination of kernel-level hardening, refined firewall policies, and traffic management allowed us to better protect the server from DOS attacks. This concludes our demonstration of the DOS intrusion prevention system. Through the scenarios we observed, we've shown how a server can be overwhelmed by a SYN flood attack and how implementing proper firewall protections, kernel-level hardening, and traffic management techniques can effectively mitigate such attacks. This teaching aid highlights the importance of proactive cybersecurity measures and provides a practical understanding of how network defenses operate in real-world situations. Unfortunately, we were not able to cover every step of the process during this session, such as fully setting up the lab environment, building the web application used in the demo, and walking through every command to configure the firewall and kernel hardening. These components are detailed and time-consuming, and demonstrating them end-to-end would require a longer, hands-on workshop. Fortunately, we have assembled a set of resources and reference materials for future students, including installation guide, configuration scripts, example web app code, and links to further reading that will help anyone reproduce the mini DOS intrusion prevention system on their own. Those materials are designed to be followed independently or used as the basis for a lab exercise, and they include checkpoints and troubleshooting tips to make the setup smoother. We encourage students to work through the resources, experiment in a controlled environment, and reach out with questions as they build their own systems. Finally, we would like to thank everyone for their attention and participation. Your interest and engagement are what make these demonstrations meaningful, and we hope this session has provided valuable insights into DOS attacks and prevention strategies.
Plus, we were up till 1 a.m. Saturday morning trying to complete this. You must learn this, or else.